So the Rama Mipano, Yonas Elim, Madura Basra, א-לקים, perek 50. So he explains a concept that has to do with why we eat meat and the purpose of man in this world. And he says that one of the explanations for Bereshit bara א-לקים, the verse in the beginning Hashem created. So you can read Bereshit bara, in the beginning he created א-לקים. He created the concept of א-לקים. What is א-לקים? א-לקים is man. Because the pasuk says, אמרתי א-לקים אתם ובני אדם כולכם. That when he created man, he says, I said to you that you are going to be א-לקים. You're going to be a special thing now. In general, we say that this refers to the angels. That you, man, are like a heavenly creation. And Bnei Adam, and you're all sons of Adam. So that itself equates that all Adam is called this א-לקים. He was this heavenly creation. But you're going to die like Adam because he sinned. So that's the pasuk. So it implies that Adam is like א-לקים. Why is Adam called א-לקים? Because he fixes the creation. He elevates the creation. He named each of the animals. And this connection to Adam and the animals is furthered by when Adam sinned. It says in Medrash Rabbah that it wasn't just Adam who sinned. It was also all the animals who ate from the tree. So it wasn't just Adam who needed to get the atonement. It was also the animals. So Adam brought a korban. And the korban would atone for the animals. But he couldn't just bring any korban. In order to atone for all the animals, he had to bring a special kind of animal. An animal that was equated with him. So he brought a shor par, makrin mafris. So he atoned for himself by bringing the korban, as well as the animals, because it's a shor is the only animal that's called a shor when it's ben yomo. It's called a shor when it's first born, and this is equated to Adam because it says vיקרא שמם Adam ביום הבראם, that he called them Adam on the day they were created. That in the very day they're created, they're called Adam. So that gives them a chashivus, a special quality above others, that they're called that name immediately. And so this animal, the shor par, that he brought ashore, atoned for the other animals because it has also an added chashivus. Now, when the generation of the flood sinned, so it wasn't just the people who sinned, it was also the animals. Our sages say that they were niskakin l'shein and minan, that animals would go and marry and try to procreate with other animals that weren't of their species. And Noach brought korbanos. It wasn't just atoning for himself and humankind, but also for the animals. But it wasn't the same as Adam Harishon's atonement. It wasn't enough to atone for the animals. Because he says here that's the whole point of their creation of the animals was for kiyum hamin. To each animal was commanded by Bereshit limino, that it should be to its kind. That was the whole statement of its creation, that it should continue its kind and perpetuate itself. And because they went and tried to procreate with other species, therefore they negated their whole purpose of existence. And that strong sin wasn't atonable for with just the korban. And therefore he says that's why it was permitted for Noach to eat meat, was in order to effect the atonement. As is known Kabbalistically, that when you eat something, you're elevating it, you're bringing the sparks out of it. And here we're talking about atonement. And this he says, we can see the godel koach of the mikdash. That in the mikdash we bring an animal, and we're able to actually affect an elevation for everything, not just the animal, but it includes all the four levels of the person gets atonement, and the animal gets elevated, and the plant life with the mincha gets elevated, and the inanimate with the salt or libation gets elevated as well. Now, here you have an interesting thing. In general, when we say you can eat meat, the understanding is that we are higher than the animals. And when we're eating the animals, they were created to serve us. That's the generic understanding. But here we see people nowadays are also saying, well, the animals are like us. We're animals, they're animals. And is there a source for this in Torah? So we see here that the inanimate and the animals, or the plants and the animals, also have a certain level of free choice. He doesn't bring this, but it's known in Medrash that the Rashi brings it down, that when the trees were commanded, eitz pri ose pri, they were supposed to be fruit trees that bore fruit. The trees themselves were supposed to be fruity, but they didn't do that, and therefore they were punished. So we see that they had to atone, and they, so to speak, had a certain free choice. And the same thing with the animals. We see the animals, they went and sinned, and they went and tried to procreate with other animals, and they had to atone for that. So that seems to imply they had a certain level of free choice, a certain level of accountability for their actions anyways, even if it wasn't free choice. But if they did something wrong, they had to be accountable for their actions. So if you want to treat the animals the same as people, we see that we'll let the animals be accountable for their choices. And here we see that in our Jewish history here in the Torah, we hold that they have not been held accountable yet and have not atoned for their sin properly, and therefore we're permitted to eat them.